When you think of a hero, a great person, we think of those who fought in those battles. But what if these battles were not fought on a solid ground? Think of it. In our everyday life, ignorance, prejudice, and hatred, those are the battles too. Maybe the toughest ones we have yet to overcome. I want to share with you a woman who is fighting these battles, Mary Fisher, a Republican, speaking out on the battlefield of the Republican National Convention in Houston, Texas in 1992. And Mary Fisher, a woman avid for allies, battles against AIDS. In Mary Fisher's A Whisper of AIDS, Mary, a mother who was HIV positive, speaks out about how awareness is the key to finding a cure. Born April 6, 1948 in Louisville, Kentucky, she was the daughter of two Russian descents. She attended University of Michigan for a year before taking a voluntary position at ABC Television in Detroit University. Before that, she then found a connection for an opportunity to join the staff of General R. Ford. In 1977, Fisher entered her first marriage, which soon dissolved. In 1984, she sought treatment at the Betty Ford Center for Alcoholism due to the divorce and many other things affecting her life. While there, she realized she was a very artistically inclined person. After rehabilitation, she went to New York and married a fellow artist, Brian Campbell. The couple relocated to Florida, extended their family, had two kids, Zachary and Max, and in 1990, they had gotten a divorce. In 1991, Campbell told Mary how he was HIV positive. After being tested, she found that she had contracted the virus from him. Although their children were tested, they were negative. She expanded her AIDS activism from public speaking into writing, arts, and international advocacy. She founded a non-profit called Mary Fisher Care Fund based on the Centers for AIDS Research at the University of Alabama at Birmingham to support clinical AIDS research and promote public educations about HIV/AIDS medicine and policy. She also helps the women in Africa and Zimbabwe the same way she helps Americans here by helping them find ways to fund for medications. In August, at the convention in Houston, Texas, she announced that she intended to lift the shroud of silence which has been drafted over the issue of AIDS and HIV. She is a rich homosexual and a Republican, which is not the typical stereotype of AIDS, yet she has HIV positive, a disease well known to gays and blacks. She called on her listeners to recognize that HIV and AIDS is not a political creature. It does not care whether you are a Democrat or Republican. It does not care whether you are black, white, male, female, gay, straight, young, or old. She quietly reimburses those in her party who believe AIDS was a God's punishment for immoral behavior. People with HIV have not entered some aligned state of being. These are humans. These are not earned cruelty, and they do not deserve meanness. The speaker of A Whisper of AIDS is Mary Fisher. On August 19, 1992, at a Republican National Convention in Houston, Texas. Her main audience was the American people who were all watching as well as sitting at the convention. She intended to lift the shroud of silence that has been draped over the issues of HIV and AIDS. She wanted to make it clear that it was not a gay disease, a black disease, a white disease, a Democrat disease, or a Republican disease. It was an everyone disease. Her tone was informative, earnest, and brave. Through stating facts about the AIDS and then adding her own personal feelings, she made it clear how we could all help to fight AIDS. The narrative style of the speech was a story type and informative, as well as motivational, to cause people to help with AIDS. She uses the words litter to help her listeners to get a better understanding of what people think of people with AIDS or HIV. Like their trash, they are just being thrown out on the streets. She uses imagery like white, black, gay, straight to help make it clear like anyone can get this disease and what they look like doesn't matter. It could be you, it could be me, it could be her. She also says through strong fear like this is not a distinct threat, this is a present danger. The rate of infection is increasing faster among women and children, largely unknown a decade ago. AIDS is the third leading killer of a young adult American today, but it won't be the third for long because unlike other diseases, this one travels. Through the use of language within the speech is minor. Mary doesn't use fancy words of any sort. She keeps it simple to help her audience have a full understanding of the message she is trying to portray. Through syntax, she says that adolescents doesn't give each other cancer or heart disease because they believe they are in love, but HIV is different and it has helped us along the way. We have killed each other through our own ignorance and prejudice to our own silence. Mary Fisher's logos is very clear. Without awareness, we cannot move forward in fighting the battle against AIDS. We should fight with our own words and not our silence. If AIDS is viewed as a homosexual disease, then we have no hope in finding a cure. Mary's logic in their speech calls to recognize that AIDS virus is not a political creature. It does not care whether you're a Democrat or Republican. Mary's pathos is evident in her startling statistics. For example, the 4 million people worldwide are dying from AIDS, while 2,000 Americans are dead or dying. Mary's first appeal is fear. She explains how AIDS personally is its killer known, where you live and where you like to hide. By dramatizing our fear and speaking out, she appeals to our guilt. To the millions who watched on TV and those who saw Mary Fisher speaking in person knew how she had contracted the HIV virus. She contracted it from her second husband. Never in the speech she blamed her husband. Never in the speech did she accuse her husband of giving her the disease. Mary Fisher that night was the empathy of ethos. Mary Fisher is definitely an activist, and her ethos is unmistakable. She is a mother Republican and the fighter of the HIV and AIDS virus. She establishes her credibility by telling her audience in paragraph 1, "I want your attention, not your applause." My 5 rhetorical strategies are tautology, anapholis, noem, personification, and iteration. Personification is giving a human thing to a non-living object. Iteratio is a rhetorical term for the eliciting of details of a type of amplification. Noem is a stand to an object or content of the thought, judgment, or perception, but it is a pierced meaning in the work that remains to a matter of controversy, which means it makes you think about it even though she has moved on about the topic. Tautology is a phrase or expression in which the same thing is said twice in many different words. Anapholism is those ways in which a narrative discourses reorganizes a given story by flashing back to earlier points in her life. An example of tautology is when she says, "My call to the nation is a plea for awareness. If you believe you are safe, you are not. You are in danger. Because I am not a homophobic, I am not at risk. Because I am not gay, I was not at risk. Because I did not inject dogs, I was not in risk." Mary Fisher makes this argument that no one is safe. When you think you are safe, you are in danger. After all the valid points she made in use of other rhetorical devices, it is impossible to disprove how unsafe you are from AIDS. She also uses anapholis when she says, "If you believe you are safe, you are at risk." Throughout her speech, she reminds Americans that even though you think you are safe, you are not. She also uses noem through when she says, "Though I am a white, I am a mother, and I am with the black infants struggling within the tubes of the Filipino hospital. With those I am the females contracted this disease in marriage and enjoy a warm support of my family. I am one with the lonely gay man sheltering in a flickering candle in the cold of the wind, as his family has rejected him." At the beginning of the speech, she tells us this and to her listeners to make us think and figure out how she is one with everyone she has mentioned within her essay.